I'm actually General Manager for Dragoman. If you haven't seen us, we've got a great big white and orange truck a few stands away from here, and we do adventure travel all over the world. So how did I end up here? I know when I was growing up, careers, school, everybody always asks you, and they still ask me, you know, what are you going to do with your life? I've got a proper job now, so it's okay. You know, what do you want to be? Where are you going to go? Dad was always worried, you know, a proper job. You know, what is a proper job? I don't think I want normality anyway. It's too scary. I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up because I haven't grown up completely. So whatever happens next, we'll just see where it goes. Where did I start? I'd never really got into the outdoors until I got involved with Duke of Edinburgh, and that was sort of 16, 17. Then I fell in love with the mountains, moved to North Wales and worked as a nanny because I just wanted to be in the mountains. From there, I then trained as a geography teacher because that's what my careers teacher told me I should do, so I did what I was told. I then went overseas on a project basically to India and fell in love with India and fell in love with travel. So I came back from travelling and I had a bit of a panic. What on earth am I going to do with my life now? I'd had so much freedom, you know, could do what I wanted when I wanted, and discovered there was a massive world out there of things to see and do. And then in the back of the Great Outdoors magazine at that time, because there weren't really many places like here where you can go online and look for jobs, or maybe there was, I just wasn't very internet savvy back then. And I found a place called Robinwood Activity Centre. And I thought, well, kind of like that idea, primary school children, that's what I'd trained to do. And that began 4 years working at Robinwood. It's a shame Martin's not here, actually, because he was my old boss and still the owner of Robinwood Activity Centre. And I started there as a junior instructor. And the fantastic thing about that was that I actually was trained right the way from the beginning. So I transferred a huge number of skills from my, my life teaching, if you like, and my degree, and then moved those forwards into working with groups of primary school children. And we did all sorts of things. So I was trained in my climbing, I did my mountain leader, I did my archery, and I progressed through the company and ended up working as centre manager and spent a total of 4 years at Robinwood. Looking back at it now, when I go onto their site, Martin's got 3 amazing centres, and a lot of the staff that I actually recruited are now in senior positions within the company, which is fantastic. I still miss it. Nowadays, I kind of do my climbing and my canoeing and kind of get my fix that way. So after 4 years at Robinwood Activity Centre, that addiction to travel started to bite again, and I could feel those itchy feet starting. So I was on the hunt for another job. This time, the back of Wanderlust travel magazine, and I saw an advert for a company called Dragoman. I'd never heard of Overland travel, had no idea what it was about. All I knew that I wanted to be with people, working with people, and I wanted to travel. So, back to no money again, so we get used to this. There's a cycle going on in my life. And I started working for Dragoman. It is one of the world's largest overland operators, and we travel all over the world. So those are some of the places that you can actually travel. I only ended up traveling in South America, but I spent 2.5 years actually driving around South America, an experience that I would never have had otherwise. So what is Dragoman? What it's all about? It's about shared experiences. It's about a group of people. Many people are individuals, single travelers, who come together, meet in a hotel, and then go off traveling together. So it's very much about the group. And as a leader, as a crew member, it's about facilitating that journey. Nice dodgy photo here. Lunchtime, this is on the coastal Peruvian desert, and this was actually with a family trip. So for me, transferring from primary education, doing my teaching, working in the outdoors, it's all about group management, it's about being with people, it's about facilitating a journey, and it's about organising. That's a big part of the job that we all do. It's also about having fun, getting the roof seats open, driving along the back roads. This is again Paracas National Park. It's about local experiences, about culture. It's about opening people's eyes, slightly stepping outside the comfort zone, but not so far, same as the outdoor industry, not so far that you scare people. This is, again, a family trip, but this is a Pachamama, or a Mother Earth ceremony in a small homestay down in Peru. And this was an amazing project that I got involved with when I came back off the road. And this, for me, after 2.5 years in South America, I foolishly agreed to come back to the office. I'm not quite sure why. It was about an opportunity. And for me, my career progression and my careers plan hasn't been planned at all. It's just been doors that have opened or that I've just given a go and see what happened. And we'd been using the Inca Trail, the classic Inca Trail, for a long time, probably 25 years that Drago's been going. And we were looking for a different project. So when I was out in South America, I met some fantastic ground suppliers. And basically, we put together a new trail, which we use as a community project and a community trail. It was actually featured in the Observer fairly recently. We've raised a huge amount of money. We're working on reforestation projects. We supply teachers to the schools. And the trek is all about involving the communities and actually working together as an operator. So what do Dragoman crew do? How does it work? Well, you're working as a team of 2 or 3 people. You're driving the truck, and you're looking after the group, so up to 21 clients. You really are working 24/7. If your phone rings or somebody knocks on your room door or comes and shouts at your tent, you are working the whole time. You've got your truck to drive, you've got servicing to do, you've got repairs to do. There'll be many times when your group are actually having an amazing time doing something and you're crawling underneath the truck in the freezing cold, for me up on the Altiplano. But equally, that gets balanced out by all the amazing people you meet and the incredible experiences that you have. You've also got your accounts to do and reservations. So organisation really is one of the things you need to sort yourself out with. Key skills, being a people person. You have to like people, even if you're having a bad day. Strong leadership, flexibility. You never know what's going to happen on the road. Use of gaffer tape and cable ties is also extremely useful. Resourcefulness, being a good communicator, and a passion for travel is an absolute must. What do we do? Lots of time driving. So lots of driving in the trucks, on all sorts of conditions of roads, whether they're tarmacked or gravel. Some of you might have noticed that actually that's the same road, and it is. That's the difference of 6 years later. And really the other message on this is get out and do it now. Whatever it is you're thinking about doing, don't leave it, because the world is changing fast. And this is out in West Africa, so there's always a section of sort of the overlanding, sand matting. Great for a while. You don't want to do it all day, though. As a group leader, you might feel that your group have actually physically done this to you on some days when you're exhausted, but you do get out to go and have some amazing experiences and feature things that you wouldn't probably have ever done. I would never have spent 2.5 years in South America. This is the trail I was talking about, so one trip I might be working on the truck, the next trip, hopefully I'll be out here enjoying this amazing scenery and fantastic trekking. Fixing the truck on the side of the road. This was an injector pipe that had gone when I was driving. Family trip, second day of a trip. It doesn't matter how much you service a truck sometimes, it's still going to go wrong. And one of the great things about Dragoman, I'd never fixed a truck before, never done any mechanics, but I spent 10 weeks actually training at our workshop, same as we do now. You learn how to strip things down, you learn how to rebuild them, and you have a whole new set of skills. And those are a couple of shots of the training, actually. In the center of the top picture, you'll see a guy in a green T-shirt. That's actually the boss and owner of Dragoman, or one of them. I work very closely with our MD and operations director on a daily basis. They were Overland drivers 30 years ago, because it's our 30th birthday this year. They bought a truck from a company that went bust, and that was the beginning of Dragoman. So that really kind of takes me on to what you do after overlanding. I was suddenly looking through, that's my other director, that's him 30 years ago with a Maasai on the left-hand side, it's our MD. I was looking through what people are doing nowadays. In our yard at the moment in Suffolk, there's a guy called David who's building his own truck, starting his own overland company, and we'll probably end up actually working with him through West Africa. So that's him. I've got friends who are running trekking companies in Ecuador, in Argentina. I've got another friend who's running Compass Expeditions, which is a motorbike expeditions, and they're running all over the world. We've got people who are skippering boats, taking boats from one part of the world to another and delivering them. People working for the UN, Médecins Sans Frontières, other aid organisations. I work as general manager. One of the girls I train with works as our operations manager. So there are a lot of skills that you can take from something like overlanding and travel and then move them forward into another job after that, because driving is probably not going to be forever. What do I do now? Working in an office is hard. I struggle. My feet itch a lot. I don't spend as much time as I'd like to overseas at the moment. So I'm back into my climbing, back into my canoeing, get the group out and do 3 Peaks Challenge or something and do some charity events. And I got to go to Everest Base Camp last year, which was great. So it's not always easy, but the most important, thing I think is that you need to work with a passion for what you're doing. So it's very easy to wake up in the morning and go, oh, I've got to go to work again and again and again. And you don't change it because you think, oh, I'll change it later. I'll change it next time. You don't know when that next time is going to be. I know it sounds corny, but just never say never. If you get an opportunity, go for it. We all know that money isn't everything. And I'm sure one day, fairly soon, I'll end up not knowing when the next pay packet is coming from. But take the challenges, go for it, work for something that you believe in, and good luck with whatever you do.
I'd just like to ask something that we get asked a lot. For doing this kind of work, is there a upper age limit when you can actually apply to come and work for Dragoman?
There's no upper age limit. There is a lower age limit, and that's purely for insurance reasons, that you need to be 25 to come and drive one of the vehicles, but there is no upper age limit. So it's all about attitude. It is a 15 months first commitment because of the fact that there's training involved. But apart from that, no age limit at all.
And obviously it's quite a demanding role. Do you get people that stay with you for quite a while, or do they tend to maybe do a couple of years and then move on to something else?
A lot of the crew at the moment, they'll work for 15 months, do their first contract, maybe then have 2 or 3 months off, and then they'll actually come back and do another contract. That second contract isn't always 15 months, it might be 6 months or 12 months. But if you think of a destination like South America, it actually takes 6 months to go around South America once. So if you're doing a 12-month contract, you're only going to have done the route twice. And you need to have that experience and know where you're going, obviously, for clients. So it tends to be longer contracts, but we've got crew that have worked for us for 7 years. There was a guy here on Thursday who actually worked for us for 15 years before he moved on. He's now skippering yachts and things around the world. So it can be a job for a long period of time, but it is quite a hard life.